This is the Leisger CD5 cruiser, down tube, 5th generation. And that might surprise some people in America because Leisger is just getting here. This is a German brand. They've been selling it over there for quite a while. And, you know, it's kind of expanding. So I really like this bike. I've tried one of their other models that's sort of a mountain bike, hardtail. This one's designed to be a cruiser, and it's got this really unique frame geometry where the seat tube actually slopes down and brings the pedals much further forward. So when you sit on this, your body is much more relaxed. It's like sitting on a lazy boy or some sort of a traditional, like, you know, back and kind of down chair, or maybe like a chopper motorcycle or something a little bit. And it's just comfortable. It feels really good. And the fact that it has this nice suspension fork up front, and I say nice with, you know, it's decent. It gets the job done. There's no lockout or anything, just these preload, and they're independent. So it's just sort of, you know, but it's black. It matches the nice matte color along with those beautiful fenders. This does a great job for what it is. It's priced around $2,500, which isn't too bad. It's purpose built. Like, you can definitely see where the wires and everything are run through this top tube and even through the down tube, and they stay out of the way. It's really clean. Got this nice chain guard as well. I haven't seen too many like this. It protects the whole length of the chain, and that nice kickstand that's adjustable and pretty sturdy. So the bike feels nice when you leave it, you set it, it's just fine. These are Schwalbe Big Ben tires, 26-inch diameter by 2.15-inch let's see, width right here, and that creates a nice soft kind of a cushion feel that complements the suspension fork. So everything's working really well together on this bike, including the oversized saddle back here. I really like this. It's comfortable, it gives you a lot of support, especially because most of your body weight is sort of sitting back on that, and then the bars can be adjusted really easily, tool-free. There's a little slider over here, and then you pull this back up, and you can actually angle them, so just like that. You can angle them forward or back, like up or down, and you can twist the, I'd call these mid-rise bars. Okay, so those combined with the padded grips, this is all sort of fake leather, by the way, but it matches, and it creates that like really comfortable seating position that I love. I would suggest maybe consider adding a seat post suspension to this, because so much of your weight is back on that sort of the rear portion of the bike, that when you do hit a bump, yeah, it's partially absorbed by that front suspension, but then, you know, you kind of feel it a little bit more going over the back. And this is a 30.4 millimeter seat post from ProMax. So if you find a seat post suspension that fits that, maybe like a Thud Buster or something, it'd be a decent option. Those are like $150, and it might be worth it depending on how much riding you're doing over cracks and stuff, or even up these little, you know, gutters and stuff. Some of them can be like, whoa, you know, you really feel it in this body position right here. And I found that even trying to stand up over them, it's a little harder to stand on this bike because the pedals are so far forward. You have to like pull yourself forward up towards the bars and then stand up. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to try these bikes back to back, going from the mountain bike to this one, because this is so much more relaxed. But, you know, just different, totally different. I measured the top of the seat tube right here down to the middle of the bottom bracket, and that's about 18 inches, and it's about 26 inches from the seat tube up to the head tube. So definitely like stretched out more than a lot of bikes, and that's what creates that body position again. So yeah. Back here we've got a Shimano Acera cassette with an oversized ring. Nice grip shifter, very intuitive. There's 8 speeds on this. So whether you're climbing with that mega range 34 tooth ring or using one of these smaller ones to hit those top speeds, like, it works pretty well. 8 gears is enough, and Acera's a couple steps up from the bottom in the Shimano range. Works pretty well. You know, I guess one thing I noticed about it is that in throttle mode, this bike hits 20 miles per hour, but when you use pedal assist, it gets closer to 27. So this is technically a speed pedelec, which is interesting to me, given the design and kind of that cruiser. That's the cadence sensor, and it works all right. I don't know how many magnets are in there. It's clean, it's tucked away. It's not as big as like the discs with big magnets, but it's not as responsive as like the 12 magnet sensors I've tested on some other bikes. good enough for this application. And the fact that the brake levers have motor inhibitors means that you can instantly cut power to the motor anytime if you just squeeze either one of those. Tektro Aruga E-Comp, 180 millimeter front rotor, 160 millimeter rear. The front has that quick release, which is really nice and handy if you need to move the bike. And the bike is only 52 pounds, which surprised me because it's got the fenders, it's got the suspension fork. 52 pounds isn't bad for a big cruiser like this at all. And the fenders are included. They also have like a rack, an optional rack if you want to carry stuff, and I think that's like another 40 bucks or something. So keep that in mind for whatever type of riding you're planning. And maybe I'll jump into the motor system now. Got a standard 8-fun 350 watt internally geared rear hub. Just kind of basic. You know, this is what you'd get on a generic average bike in the United States, 2014, 2015 time period. And it's not especially powerful if you start from rest and you just try to accelerate like up a hill or even through grass. It's not that impressive. I think it's like 10 watt nominal or 10 amp nominal, 15 amp peak is kind of the power that you're getting. It's running off of this 36 volt, 13 amp hour battery pack. So again, above average in terms of size, but not necessarily power until you get to those higher speeds, you know. So it's definitely, it's a touch above average for sure, but there are other cruiser electric bikes like from Patago and stuff with 500 watt motors, 48 volt batteries, and they're more powerful, but they're also more heavy and they're more expensive. So you kind of pick your poison, right? Okay, so I'm gonna pop this battery pack off real quick and show you how it works. Just stick the key in, kind of unlock it, and then you gotta, there we go, slide it forward a little bit. There's the mounting bracket. It's got 2 screws. They go kind of where a bottle cage might otherwise rest, but this is a purpose-built frame, so that's nice. Here's what the bottom looks like. There's the kind of that gold plug. That's what locks it on. There's a power button on the left, and then the charging port and USB port on the right. So I love that. You could actually use this as backup power to top off your phone, and you can charge the battery on the bike or off the bike. It doesn't matter, and that's great. If you really want to care for this battery and help it last, I recommend kind of storing it inside if it's hot or super cold and trying to keep it between 20 and 80% charged. This does come with a 1-year comprehensive warranty, which is nice. And there are Samsung cells inside the pack, so it's good stuff. You know, this is decent quality. It should last for you, and again, it blends into the frame, but you know, don't try not to drop it or anything. There wasn't like an especially easy place to grab. You just kind of hold around the edge of the case. The charger itself is about 1.5 pounds, pretty small. You know, it's like a little black brick, easy to take along with you and just plug this thing in if you're maybe using it to commute or something. Back to that USB charger, do be careful if you've got like, you know, your phone plugged into here and the wires running up the frame, because, you know, as you pedal, your legs and your feet get pretty close, and you wouldn't want to like bump that and accidentally break your charger or get it snagged and crash or something. That'd be pretty bad. But it is a nice feature to have. Up here we've got the display, and I'm going to go ahead and power the bike up and show you how this thing works. Basically, you first have to turn on the battery. You can see the little lights come on there. That's a little bit of an extra step because you also have to power it on here on the kind of the button pad. And now you can see the displays lighting up and everything. It's a monochrome grayscale display, C600. It does swivel front to back, so you can kind of reduce glare, which is nice. But it's not removable. And again, once you're finished riding, you might think, oh, I turned it off, you know? Done. Well, the battery's still on. So just remember that. Like, that's a con in my mind, because it's easy to leave that on. And yeah, you're not using too much battery power, but if you don't ride the bike for a week or a month or something, like, it's going to be slowly draining because you didn't turn it off. So let's boot this thing back up. Comes on pretty quickly. Easy to reach and navigate this thing, which I really like. If you want to turn on the backlighting, just press the power button one more time quickly, and that little icon comes on. I'm going to turn that off. We've got speed in the middle, miles per hour right now. Pedal assist up to 6. You can arrow all the way down to 0 if you want, but that actually impacts how much power you get in throttle mode. So I kind of wish this bike would let you go full power with the throttle at any time, because it is a variable speed. You know, there's a range here. You just push lighter and it would go slower. That's not the way it works. You're limited in terms of power by the pedal assist level you choose. So I've been riding in mostly in 6 because I'm a daredevil. Then over here we've got 5 little battery chunks that indicate how full the battery is. And then we've got a couple of trip meters here, an odometer, time. You can go through those by pressing the set button. It's really nice. I like that they have like a little menu to show you where you are. It's not just like guessing. And then we've got power level. So right now we're in power, but there's also normal and eco. And basically that's just, you know, one way to conserve battery and optimize your range. Okay. Pedal assist is another way. This is really controlling like your top speed, whereas power is like how much current you're getting. And is the bike like, or is it, you know, accelerating a little more gently and using that battery juice a little bit more efficiently. So kind of keep that in mind. To get into those settings, you hold set for a couple seconds. You can change the wheel size. You can change some other things along with the power level. So that's kind of it. We've gone through a lot of different dimensions of this bike. Again, I really enjoyed it. It's just unique. Like the way it feels is comfortable. The price point I think is pretty good compared to what's out there in the market, and the power is decent. You know, it's that step above other, you know, 36 volt, 350 watt setups. So I'm sitting on the bike right now, but just giving you some idea of what this looks like. I'm 5'9", so, you know, kind of average height, and, you know, I've got the seat raised a little bit, so you can see where my feet would kind of go if I was pedaling this. You know, it's nice. Definitely much further forward than on a lot of bikes, and that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and gun the throttle now. Pretty good braking power. Now I'm gonna take it up into the grass and do the throttle and show you, kind of demonstrate the power. So we made it, you know, not too bad, but it wasn't exactly rocketing through the grass. It was a little bit delayed at first. So if you're approaching a big hill or you're carrying a heavy load with this, I'd recommend kind of pedaling along at first, trying to help the motor get up to speed where it can operate at a more optimal RPM. Now I'm gonna do pedal assist mode and try to watch as I pedal and listen for the motor kicking in. So, whoa. Yeah, you might notice that it's a little bit delayed. It takes a second to start, it takes a second or two to stop. And that's where those brake levers come in handy. If you're pulling those, the motor won't activate because that switch is sort of cut. You know, you're not getting any power. And it's nice to have that just in case you're getting carried away and, you know, the motor's bucking. It works well enough for getting around the neighborhood, you know, maybe cruising to work or something like that. It's just not quite as responsive as some of the other systems I've seen, but maybe a little bit cleaner, their design and stuff. So yeah, I think that's it. That's the Leisger CD5 electric bike. For the full write-up on this and some other Leisger reviews, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And if you're in Germany, maybe you're familiar with this company or you have the German version of this bike, feel free to chime in if you have any tips or you know, thoughts on this brand. Ride safe.